Okay, this absolutely god-awful abomination of a show called Velma has been gaining popularity lately, but not because it's good or anything, but because of how horrible everything about it is. I don't even know where to start with dissecting this show and tearing it into pieces, because there's fundamentally so many things wrong with this show that just after watching the first 2 minutes of the very first episode, I wanted to rip my own ears off and throw them away. I am not exaggerating when I say that this show is the literal low point of every single animated adult series that we have ever gotten. Even the fucking incestuous part of the last Rick and Morty seasons have been better and more watchable / enjoyable than this pile of garbage. It's so hard to find anything good about this show that it genuinely hurts my brain that I had to go through 6 episodes of this crap, and there are 4 more coming out if I'm not mistaken, which will mean 10 episodes in season 1. But you know what the worst part is? That despite the amount of hate that this show has gotten, despite every single rating that people have given this show, just a heads up, by the time of making this video, the show stands at a whopping 1.3 out of 10 on IMDb, which is literally the worst rated animated series in the history of the platform ever. There are rumors that the production team is already working on season 2. How? I have no idea. The show focuses on Velma as our main protagonist who tries to solve the disappearance of her mother, despite how it was very clearly stated in the first few episodes that her mother left because she hated both Velma and her dad, but whatever. But the biggest mystery she should be solving is how the hell did this absolute shit show get made, let alone greenlit on HBO. This show is hot garbage, and by that I mean imagine the worst smelling pile of crap you can ever imagine and just multiply that by 10 times and you will get this show. I'm seriously not kidding. Oh, you don't believe me? Okay, let's see how the things this amazing show can offer us. Let's address the elephant in the room, the characters and the so-called jokes in the series. First, I will have to cite from this article by Wire.com. Velma began 3 or 4 years ago when Mindy Kaling was invited to pursue the Warner Bros. Catalog and unearthed a latent affinity with Velma. She had seen herself in that character growing up, Grundy says. As he and Kaling developed the show, they were always aware of Velma's online legacy and really wanted to honor that. But, he adds, the series is a prequel and their version of Velma is one that existed before the rough edges got sanded down a bit, before she took some lumps and had to pay the price for an abrasive personality. Okay, first of all, what the actual fuck? This one paragraph shows us that the reason why Velma is such an awful and unlovable character and why she was made the way she is in the show is because Mindy Kaling tries to insert herself into this character. That is already a huge red flag when writing a character. No, let me correct myself. There is a good way to do this, like for example in the anime Attack on Titan, where the author clearly resembles a bit with his main character and wrote him similar to himself, but not this much. One is peak writing, the other one is hot garbage. Can you guess which one is which? Exactly, Velma is peak writing. Good choice, dumbass. But seriously, the character is just trashy in every sense of the word. She is racist beyond belief, thinks highly of herself and thinks she is above everybody else, thinks that she is smarter than every single other character, yet at the same time she doesn't even know the quadratic formula correctly, doesn't give a single fuck about anyone else if she doesn't see benefits from doing so. Her heritage is also changed in this series in contrast to the original one, and now she is an Indian American girl, which wouldn't be a problem in itself, but oh wait, who of the producers has also an Indian American heritage? Oh wait, I know the heritage of the characters wouldn't cause a problem because you know that's not what the original was about either. However, this just makes Velma resemble Kaling even more, and they're just not making things better in any way whatsoever. Every single character is flipped upside down. Kaling said that she respects the IP and will do her best to make a series that everyone will like, both new and old fans alike, but there's nothing to like about this garbage. I remember waking up on weekends when I was a child, turned on my TV and watched Scooby-Doo for hours on end, and let me tell you that seeing this series and what they have done to the characters is just god awful. Okay, changing the heritage of the character is completely okay and fine. You can do it. Nobody will care about that as long as you don't bring up so many stereotypical stuff that you can joke about. Oh wait, they have already done it. Good job. There are so many, and by that I mean so many racist jokes about Velma and Shaggy. Oh, sorry, Norville, because we need to call him this now, especially how that he's been turned from a literal chick magnet in the original to a stupid beta cock, but whatever, that is just a pain to watch this series. Daphne is Asian and is a typical bitch of the school who is one of the popular girls who hates on Velma for not being as pretty or hot or popular as them, and Fred is just this spoiled brat who has been turned into a literal man-child who just brings nothing interesting to the table. Oh, did I mention that Velma and Daphne are both bisexual in the series? Now hear me out, before you go to the comments and write, oh you fucking homophobe. No, I don't have any problem with this change. Fine, go ahead and make everyone gangbang each other in the back of the school near the dumpster for all I care, but please don't make their characters so sexualized. In every scene in which they are in, there is just sexual tension between them. And did I also mention that they are all 15? Yeah, that's right. Our protagonists are 15 and oh my god, what is this? We are sexualizing the characters in every episode? Oh, alright, let's take a look at this funny, and by that I mean funny, haha, joke that the series provides provides us. In the literal first 1 minute of the series, we have basically drawn CP because children are being shown showering nude, their body parts being barely covered by some soap, and they try to hammer these jokes into you in every single episode. And let me say it again, they are all 15. Velma has a ton of hallucinations which put her life in danger, almost killing her every time she has them, which is honestly the only good part of her character, because then I wouldn't have to listen to her. However, there's no denying that they animated these sequences kinda well, and sometimes they were very smooth. Okay, so back to the main topic. Velma has these hallucinations, and in one episode Daphne helps her by giving her a kiss. Now okay, this wouldn't have been a problem if they wouldn't be 15 and moaning while making out. Seriously, how did anyone approve of this? It's literal CP once again, but whatever, it's okay if it's drawn, am I right? There's a killer in school, and the way the police tries to deal with it is to protect the 5 hottest girls in the entire school. We are talking about men who are more than 40 years old, making a list about 15-year-olds in high school and how hot they are. Yeah, making sexual jokes with children is the way to make the show likable and targeted at adults, along with other cringy/edgy or meta jokes, like calling everyone Hitler nowadays and how feelings are more important than other things. I was surprised they didn't mention freaking COVID in the series already, cause goddamn. Shaggy is just sad in this one and painful to watch. He seems for Velma so hard, it's just painful to go through the scenes with them. Yet despite this, he is the only character in the series who has some good moments and funny lines, but that's it. There was not a single scene in which I laughed or even smiled. The moment Shaggy finds another girl to care for instead of Velma, she gets jealous and tries to get back Shaggy despite the fact that she didn't give a single fuck about him before and just used him to make things better for herself. Velma gets worse and worse every episode, I swear. But this isn't even the worst part about this, because Shaggy gets guilt-tripped into going back to being a beta like his dad. I'm not even kidding, they straight up call him that. And helps Velma after everything. Way through in a character's development, I guess. Velma has been gay/bi in some other forms of Scooby-Doo media already, but did they really have to make Daphne gay/bi as well? I swear everything that happens in this show is just a recollection of everything that has happened to Mindy Kaling in school. She didn't have any friends, was alone as the quote-unquote smart one, had a crush on the rich but dumb white guy all because he is liked by everyone and looks nice, while ignoring another guy who was trying to get her to like him. There, I summed up the series, no need to watch it anymore. Oh, I'm sorry, Velma also falls in love with Daphne, my bad, I forgot to mention that. The creator was literally just living out her wildest dreams in this one as the character of Velma, and for no reason in particular, and this is coming from a person who forcefully kissed the co-star on another show, then threatened him that she would get her fired if he told anyone. Good or reliable sexual assault, everyone, but because we just had to give this person a show, because for whatever reason she can get out from under every single bad situation that she's in. Daphne is searching for her original parents, but currently she lives with her 2 moms, however acts like a literal bitch, and it doesn't really get better later on, only towards Velma, because they reconcile after years of hating on each other, then they start to fall in love and act weird around each other, and yeah, that's her whole character. How lovely and how interesting, am I right everyone? Fred is a man-child who doesn't even know how to eat properly, wash himself or do anything, but apparently in the first episode he is able to stop a freaking table piece that is sharp enough to cut a guy's legs off and throw it back, then catch it again and stand up for Velma while giving a speech. Character continuity, what is that? Am I right? Although I kinda have to point out how unironically Fred is the only character who truly goes through character development, because at first he only pays attention to girls for their looks on the outside, but thanks to reading a book that was given to him by Velma, he now learns to appreciate inner beauty. At first Velma had a major crush on Fred, but now Fred has a crush on Velma, and now Velma rejects him every time she gets a chance to do so. If you want to watch a show that does meta jokes and humor the right way, go watch any other adult-oriented cartoon besides Big Mouth. please. Some examples would be South Park, Close Enough, Rick and Morty, or other long-running series like Family Guy or The Simpsons. South Park has done a shit ton of racist and offensive jokes ever since the very first episode, yet the show has been running for 25 seasons. Why is that? Oh gee, I don't know, maybe because the creators actually know how to write a joke, and not because they try to be like Steve Buscemi in the scene from the series 30 Rock and tries to be edgy and cool to cater towards young adults who can only enjoy a show while being either drunk or high as fuck. The show would be mediocre, and by that I mean mediocre at best, but the fact that they chose to bring in the characters from Scooby-Doo even though they changed them completely made everyone react as badly as they did. Yeah, the show sucks, but Big Mouth has a 7.9 rating out of 10 on IMDb as well, despite how trash it is. Do I think this show would be rated so low everywhere if the characters weren't from Scooby-Doo? No, not at all. But they try to connect the dots so much, it's insane and it ruins everything. Velma randomly says Jinky since the 6th episode, you know, just like in the original series, and Scooby is introduced into the series as well, but only as an abbreviation of a mind control scene done by the government titled Scooby, to which Velma asks, what does Scooby do? But despite this, the series' popularity has been spiking by 127%. Oh gee, I wonder why. Maybe because of hate watching and how people want to check out this abomination for themselves. They give it the worst ever rating to ever exist, and thanks to this the series will probably be renewed for season 2, just so everyone can see how god awful it is. Seriously, I am not kidding when I'm talking about season 2. Apparently it's already in the works. Oh, also, did I mention that there are actual articles about how Velma beat out The Last of Us in their debut weekend with more views? I fucking wonder why, considering that the only reason Velma is being watched is so it can get shit on by every breathing human being ever. I just can't with this series. Everything about it is horrible. The characters, the jokes, the way it's trying to be meta, and how self-aware it is trying to be, and how many times it breaks the fourth wall. No, I just had enough. Do me and everyone a favor and go watch one of the other adult animated series that I have mentioned in this video, and don't even look in the direction of Velma because you will regret wasting your precious time on it, even though it's just technically 2 hours so far, but there are still 4 more episodes coming out, so it will be more like 3. This is an edit to the initial video that I am making after watching the last 4 episodes of the season, because since I delayed the video, the last episodes have came out, and I have to say that in the last 4 episodes some things did in fact get better. However, I wouldn't say that much changed about my initial thoughts about the series. Norville and Daphne have turned into more capable and better characters somewhat, but maybe that's just because Velma is still continuously getting worse despite the fact that she is supposed to be the main character of the series and the plot is supposed to be centered around her and her mom. Oh yeah, her mom was found and apparently she was hypnotized, and everything that has happened was just a staged thing that happened because of Fred's mom, who did all of this because she wanted to change Fred's brain with a popular person who is actually capable of running the family business. This would be an okay plan. No, it fucking wouldn't. Had it not been written so poorly by the writers. First of all, why didn't Fred's mom just simply hypnotize her own son and make her into a capable CEO, or I don't know, try to raise her from the start so that he wouldn't be the incapable dumbass that he is and be better? Wait, I know, because then they couldn't make another joke about the stereotypical white person who is rich and just as equally dumb. Yeah, and also the racism didn't stop in these 4 episodes, and if anything the stereotype jokes just got worse, and I really don't think there's any reason to point them out, cause then I will just lose my mind even more than I did after having to watch 4 more episodes of this bullcrap. But of course I gotta provide some form of content, so I have humbly decided to take this upon myself for the greater good to entertain others. Yay. Also, there were finally some funny jokes, like when Velma got zapped by the socket, or when Norville looked like a dried up plum in the car, so I could at least appreciate them. However, other jokes like where they try to get pedophilia and other forms of media like that is just so ironic, considering how they are literally the ones who make 15-year-olds moan while kissing, twerking, talking about having surgery to lift their butt, and talking about sex in almost every episode. The writers are either incredibly bad at their job and this incompetent, or just simply hypocrites and think that this will attract more audiences, because of course this is what young adults want now, and haha, everyone has sex and does drugs at a young age, which is normal, brr brr, very funny. Like, they ruin so many scenes just because they try to make Velma look hip and cool, like the scene in which she calls herself a boss bitch and after Fred's mom died she straight up started twerking because that's her happy dance? What is this, fucking Fortnite? Also, there's a cat girl in episode 9, and even though she was just a minor background character and despite how we only saw her in a few scenes, she provided the most comedy to the entire episode. Like in this scene, people are trying to block Daphne from sitting down with them and she just pulls a random ass rat out of her pocket, which made me laugh, okay, but to be fair, it made me react more than any other joke in the series and was one of the only ones that didn't make me cringe and want to take a swan dive off the roof. There's a still in episode 8 where we see a dog skeleton which straight up looks like Scooby-Doo, and this scene represents everything Mindy Kaling and her team have done with this series. Completely massacre and kill off Scooby-Doo and all the vibe that the cartoon and his character have provided everyone that watched it and enjoyed it, and just take advantage of the IP and ruin everything in the span of a few weeks. I just feel really burned out after watching it, man. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed my rant about this amalgamation of edgy and sexualized humor called an actual series, and if you want to see some other videos from me in the future or rants like these, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on new content when I will upload. Have a great day, bye bye.